Tonight on SUTV News, an update on the 2020 Democratic presidential candidates.
And SGA elects new leadership after a presidential resignation.
All that and more right now. Thanks for joining us on SUTV News. I'm Avery Quinn.
And I'm Isabella Marcelino. We begin tonight with breaking news after a recent SGA controversy. SGA President-elect Michaela Glass has resigned after a mistake was made during the election process. Earlier today, I sat down with former SGA President Logan Wine and student trustee Evan Redding to discuss more about the situation. You give us a timeline of from the beginning of the elections to now, or even before the elections to now, of what kind of happened.
Sure. So what happened was on Monday, the first day of the election, that opened up at 8 a.m. As normal. And on Tuesday, there was an issue with one of our senators, one of our ERC members. She had accidentally shared some of the information about the election in terms of where candidates stood in the election. It was an honest human mistake, and the entire SGA discussed this, and we all came to the conclusion that it was an honest human error. But what happened was there were people in the room who filed a written complaint that aligned with our election rules and regulations, which is a proper procedure that should happen in that case. That was sent to Logan and I, and as soon as it was sent to Logan and I, we then forwarded the word to our advisors to ask them for direction on how we should take this. On Thursday, we consulted the entire SGA as a whole in a closed-door meeting, and we discussed what exactly happened and how we got to that point. We decided a consensus was taken that we should redo the election to protect the integrity of every student's vote, which we believe was the right step to be taken. And also, we gave Michaela a chance, who was our vice president at the time, to share what had happened from her side. She had shared that it was a human error, an honest mistake, one that she was working to learn from, but she had also recognized that if the SGA had requested, she would resign from her position given her actions. The SGA decided that it wasn't a question of her character, it was more so to reinforce our rules, our Constitution, what that calls for, and sometimes mistakes, they can be teachable moments. But we wanted to make sure that our rules and regulations were being followed. And that's really what the decision came down to, not her character. Michaela's done a lot for our organization, and she understood, and it took a lot of courage for her to stand up and explain what she did to everyone in the room. It took a lot of courage for her to accept resigning from her position, given a human error. But it just speaks to her character about how she wants to support the organization in the future.
Now, what were the steps that were taken right after that decision, right after that meeting? I know you guys had talked about an email was sent out to the candidates. Was an email sent out to the university as well? Yeah.
So immediately after that meeting on Thursday, Evan, myself, and Michaela spoke with the slate to make sure that the facts were told and so that there weren't any rumors or false information out in the air that students may hear. And then on Friday evening, an email was sent to all candidates who were on the ballot, and Evan just explained what went down and what the steps are going to be moving forward. And then was it Friday?
Friday night again.
Friday night again, a little bit later, an email was sent to the whole student body about how there will be a re-election and all the names that were previously on the ballot will remain on the ballot.
So no new candidates can start campaigning, is that correct?
Exactly, and we always offer an opportunity for write-in candidates. We do allow that in our rules, regulations, and Constitution, but as for the names that were listed on the ballot, it stayed consistent.
Awesome, so going forward, the elections end when?
They end tonight at 4:45.
Okay.
Our rules and regulations call for 4 back-to-back days of elections, Monday to Thursday, and so we had to fall in line with that, and that's why there was such quick turnaround. We did our best to notify the student body through the Slate article. Unfortunately, we're sitting down with you on Thursday evening, But also the student-wide email, we've utilized our social media. We made sure that each senator is going back to their constituencies and giving them the link to vote. Also, it's been posted live on ShipLink all week as well.
Do you think there's anything that the SGA could have done better or could have changed in the process with this kind of situation that happened? Because I don't think anything like this is really, I know in my 4 years it hasn't really happened. So do you think there's anything different that you guys could have done?
So like Evan had mentioned, it was a human error. Moving forward, we have taken steps to make sure that a similar incident doesn't occur. So for example, the Executive Rules Committee will no longer have access to OrgSync during the elections. So our professional advisor is in charge of overseeing the elections pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah. And then again, with the ERC and also the election rules and regulations, we put in place an expectation that those rules and regulations will be revisited every year, so that we're making sure that every time something comes up, it's going to be something that we haven't experienced before, because the rules and regulations don't necessarily cover it, or there's a gray area. So that committee will be tasked with trying to foresee potential issues in the future and addressing them before they happen. So we're being really proactive in that process now.
Where, when and where will the election results be announced?
Today at 4:45, the election closes. Shortly after, the candidates will be notified of their whether they were selected by the student body or not to represent them. And then we have a transition meeting next Thursday in the Cub. That happens at 4 o'clock, and that's where it'll be publicly notified that which candidates will be taking over what senator positions as well.
Now, at this moment, there is no standing president. Is that correct?
So our election rules and regulations state that the individual with the second highest amount of votes takes over presidency. So our new president will be Avon Bittinger, and he will be sworn into office next Thursday, when all the senators who participate in this election right now are sworn in as well. So, yeah.
Fortunately, because we are before the official transitioning of position, our rules and regulations have a contingency that we can move to the next highest votes for the candidate if that position is unable to be filled with the primary candidate. So because Michaela had resigned from the president's role for next year, Avon was the next highest voting candidate. So he will be taking over the position. Logan and I have both spoken with him, and he is willing to take on that role for next year. He's very excited. He has some goals, and we've already met to discuss where he wants to take the organization next year. So we're really excited that he'll be taking over and filling the leadership role. It's the ultimate call of duty, but we're happy to have him.
Great. SUTV will continue to keep you updated once the results are posted. When we come back, we'll give you the latest on the Mueller Report.
And a recap of SHIP's annual Greek Week. The Communication Journalism Department honored its students and alumni at the annual CJ Day. Megan Talley gives us more.
On Wednesday, SHIP students, faculty, and alumni came together for this year's Comjourn Day. The day was filled with interactive workshops in virtual reality from Sovana Mom, pitching and public relations from Kristen Callum of Duck Donuts, as well as career and internship advice from the CMPD.
Which we heard from employers, that 100% of employers want you to be able to think critically and to problem solve. And you're learning that in your classrooms, you're learning that in your internships, you're learning that in your full-time positions.
The day also recognized students in academics and student media. Awards include Student Media MVPs, AppScuff Award, Wolfram Award, Albert Abe Mason Award, Mark Lipper Award, Top 20 Seniors, and Alumni of the Year Awards. Upperclassmen also gave their advice to younger students to get involved, never stop learning, and don't be afraid to be uncomfortable.
Whatever school you come from isn't going to matter. It's going to matter about what you can do for them and how much experience you've had under your belt to be able to say that you're the best person for the job.
If you really care about what you're doing, that's going to really reflect with people, and that goes a lot further than you may think.
Megan Talley, SUTV News.
SUTV's Paige Aaronsmeyer, Isabella Marcelino, and Jake Rahm were among those who took home awards, as well as Patrick Ramsdale, Katie Swigert, and Megan Talley. Congratulations to our team. This week, Ship Greek Life went head-to-head at the annual Greek Week competition. SUTV's Jordan Hanley has more.
Greek Week is a week-long competition between Greek life organizations to see who can be crowned this year's champion. Events like cornhole, dodgeball, and Family Feud bring out the friendly competition in everybody.
Kinds of friendly competition for a whole week. We have just a couple of them, flag football, soccer. We have a lip sync at the end. It's a big points one.
Lip sync will be held tonight in Memorial Auditorium to wrap up 2019 Greek Week. Jordan Hanley, SUTV News.
Follow Ship Greek Week on Twitter at Ship Greek Week 19 for the winners of tonight's lip sync battle. Join graduating students on April 28th in the Cub NPR, where a lavender graduation ceremony will be held to honor LGBTQ+ and ally students for their contributions to the university. To register, go to ship.edu/pride. If you have any questions about lavender graduation, contact the Pride Center at pride@ship.edu.
With the 2020 battle for the White House only a year away, several Democratic candidates have announced their run for the Oval Office. SUTV's Tyler Danson has more.
The 2020 election for the presidency has already proved to be a heated battle between the candidates. Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders, who announced his run for the White House in February, has remained focused on getting voters who are against President Trump. This week, Senator Sanders released the past 10 years of his tax returns and called for the president to do the same at a town hall meeting Monday night.
Hey, President Trump, my wife and I just released 10 years. Please do the same. Let the American people know how much money. All right, but just...
President Trump has been consistent on his policies and currently holds a 53% approval rating throughout the country. Another strong point that the president has been using is that the jobless claims are at a 50-year low. Other major candidates include Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren, Texas Representative Beto O'Rourke, and California Senator Kamala Harris. The current odds for the election are Donald Trump sitting at 11-8 odds, Bernie Sanders coming in second with 13-2, Kamala Harris 9-1, Beto O'Rourke 14-1, and Elizabeth Warren 50-1. The 2020 election will be held on November 3rd, and the winner is scheduled to be inaugurated into the White House on January 20th, 2021. From SUTV News, I'm Tyler Danson.
On November 3rd, all 435 House seats and 34 Senate seats will be up for re-election. Well, it's finally here. The American public can now read most of the special counsel's findings into Russia's role in the 2016 presidential election. The more than 400-page report from Robert Mueller contains some redactions. CNN's Kristen Holmes has details and reactions from the Mueller report.
The Russian government sponsored efforts to illegally interfere with the 2016 presidential election, but did not find that the Trump campaign or other Americans colluded in those efforts.
Special counsel Robert Mueller's partially redacted report noting the Trump campaign showed interest in emails stolen from Democrats by Russians meant to hurt Hillary Clinton, but found no evidence of a crime.
That is something that all Americans can and should be grateful to have confirmed.
On the question of obstruction of justice, Mueller is less clear. His report identifying 10 instances where the president or his aides may have attempted to curtail the investigation, including firing former FBI Director James Comey.
The evidence developed by the special counsel is not sufficient to establish that the president committed an obstruction of justice offense.
According to the report, once the president found out about Mueller's appointment, he said, quote, "This is the end of my presidency."
That was not the reaction of the president that day when I was there.
Today, just moments after the report's release, Trump claimed victory.
No collusion, no obstruction.
Congressional Democrats wanting more answers, calling on Mueller to testify publicly.
The special counsel made clear that he did not exonerate the president, and the responsibility now falls to Congress to hold the president accountable for his actions.
In Washington, I'm Kristen Holmes reporting.
The full report comes after a nearly 2-year investigation. After the break, this week's Know Your Ship.
And Russia officials break ice to save a polar bear in need. The Aloha Cafe is one of the newest restaurants downtown. SUTV's Nolan Huffman has more on this week's Know Your Ship. Nolan?
Hi, I'm Nolan Hoffman. For this week's Know Your Ship, I looked into a new, exciting cafe restaurant that just opened up on Monday for all of Shippensburg to enjoy. Come in, relax, find your fuel and for your body, and rest for your soul. That's the motto for newly opened Aloha Cafe, ran by Virginia Coover, whose goal is to serve the community fresh, good-for-you foods with a menu that's 100% gluten-free. Aloha also has vegan options, guilt-free desserts, and coffees with international and tropical energy. Aloha Cafe brings a fresh vibe to a town with fast food basics like McDonald's, Burger King, and Wendy's. I talked with Virginia Coover, who is the woman behind this relaxing cafe. I wanted to know her inspiration to open a cafe like the Aloha Cafe in Shippensburg, where not a lot of variety exists.
My sister is gluten-free, and when we go out to eat, she has a hard time contemplating what to order on the menu. She, questions herself and even asks out loud, wonder what has gluten in it, what's safe for her to eat. So that was my inspiration for opening a 100% gluten-free.
Another thing I wanted to find out was what Virginia thinks on why individuals should come and check out the Aloha Cafe.
A place that's inviting, that's warm. I like tropical, bright colors, and so I want to create that vibe here. It's something different, something unique. We want to offer love and compassion to our clients, to our customers.
Lastly, I asked Virginia, what are some of the best items on the menu for when first-timers come and try the cafe?
You've got to try the tropical smoothie bowl, the black bean brownie. You can't even tell there's black beans in that. And the Tuscan bean soup. There's a lot of flavor variety in the Tuscan bean soup.
The Aloha Cafe is located on 20 West King Street, and hours are mostly 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., but I'm sure the hours will expand as time goes by. You can contact them at 717-300-3636 or go on Facebook or Twitter to check out what's happening with the cafe. That's it for this week's segment of Know Your Ship. I'm Nolan Hoffman with SUTV.
The historical and holy Notre Dame Cathedral engulfed in flames. SUTV's Paige Ahrensmeyer has this week's World News. Paige?
Authorities in Russia are trying to help out animal life. A polar bear about 2 years old has been seen wandering around an area near the coast of the Bering Sea, looking thin and exhausted. People have been giving him fish to try to get him to eat. Local media report government officials could be transporting him by air to northern areas. Scientists believe that the bear arrived to the peninsula after being stranded on a chunk of ice and drifting away from where he's from. It's been 3 days since the infamous breakout fire in the Notre Dame Cathedral. Today, one city is paying tribute to those who tried to stop it. The ceremony in Paris is honoring and paying tribute to the firefighters who have been working to save the artifacts. The ceremony is taking place in front of Hotel de Ville. And with summer just around the corner, one thing you probably don't think about before going on vacation, people moving into your house. People living in a close-knit Tennessee neighborhood say they were surprised to learn one of their neighbors was an alleged burglar and squatter. Police say the man broke into the person's home and then moved in. CNN's Bridget Chapman has the community reaction.
Oh, I just wave at him.
Rachel Rodriguez says she thought the man she's been waving to at this nearby house on Coleman Avenue was her new neighbor, saying she'd often see him sitting on the porch. But police say it turns out the man, James Brown, had broken in and unlawfully moved in.
I'm really surprised. I've known that house has been vacant, more or less, for as long as I've lived here, 4 or 5 years.
Police say the actual homeowner went on a road trip and came back to find Brown living there with his car in the driveway. The victim said several of his belongings from inside the house were also in the car. 61-year-old Brown was arrested and charged with aggravated burglary.
I'm not surprised because that house down there has been weird for years.
Neighbors say the house has mainly been vacant in their time living there.
It's one of them things you just don't see the people.
They told us they don't expect anything like that to happen to them since they regularly talk to one another.
We know each other. We kind of, if we're going out of town, we'll ask someone to look out for our house and things like that.
Something she suggests others do as well.
Brown is scheduled to be in court next week. And whether you're a pro-vaccinator or not, one thing's for sure, nobody wants to be around the measles. Health officials in California say a person with measles visited Google headquarters in Silicon Valley. The adult is a resident of San Mateo County. San Mateo County Health reported 2 additional cases of measles there on Wednesday. According to the U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention, the United States has experienced a resurgence of this highly contagious disease just this year. Outbreaks have been linked in part to the anti-vaccination movement. That's all I have for you this week. Back to you guys at the desk.
When we come back in entertainment, a much anticipated finale to a decades-long saga.
And a Joe Bros World Tour concert may be coming to a town near you. Well, you know, I wore my leather coat one last time this week. I hope it's the last time.
You had to hang it up, the legendary leather coat.
Yes.
That's a bummer.
I know. I found a phone charger in my pocket.
Look at that. Look at that. Well, let's send it over to Jillian to see if we're all going to have to put our leather jackets away.
If you haven't already, you're going to want to start shedding those layers, but definitely got to keep a raincoat handy, especially for the days coming up this week, so let's get right to it. Tonight, temperatures are going to stay warm, but unfortunately the clouds are going to come in. This is going to give way to some heavy rain that's going to be expected on Friday, and the rain will be coming from a storm that is in the Midwest. It's moving very slow, so although we'll have rain for the entire day, it won't get bad until the evening time. Unfortunately for the weekend, it is not looking too good, especially as Peter Cottontail is going to make his way around for Easter. Because although the temperatures will be in the 60s, there's going to be plenty of showers coming our way. Monday and Tuesday, however, are definitely going to be the days that you're going to want to do your homework outside. Temperatures are going to be in the 70s with some partly sunny skies. And then to wrap up, temperatures are going to go down for Wednesday with clouds and a possible shower. So it looks like the rest of the week is going to be warm, but definitely got to keep an eye out for some of those showers. And that'll do it for this week's weather. Send it over to Mike Smith with entertainment.
Fans finally got a look at the long-awaited finale to the new Star Wars trilogy when a teaser for Episode 9 released earlier this week. The Rise of Skywalker will serve as an ending point of the Skywalker saga of Star Wars as the war between the Rebels and the First Order comes to an exciting conclusion. The trailer featured the return of Billy D. Williams as Lando Calrissian, as well as hinted at the possible return of the Emperor from the original trilogy. Episode 9 is set to release on December 20th. A second trailer for the upcoming Child's Play remake hit the internet earlier this week. After a family buys a new home operating system, they notice some strange occurrences which all seem to center around Andy's new doll. Andy and his friends will have to put the pieces together and stop Chucky before it's too late. Mark Hamill will play the iconic role of Chucky, while Parks and Rec star Aubrey Plaza will be playing Andy's mother. Child's Play will hit theaters on June 21st. And it's time to break out that old Joe Bro merchandise. The Jonas Brothers have released 2 new singles for their new album and recently confirmed they will be going on tour this year. It is rumored that the brothers have already recorded 30 to 40 new songs for their album. This album has not yet been confirmed, but there has been hints dropped about it coming out soon. They may also have Demi Lovato as a surprise guest at their concerts. And lastly tonight, 25-year-old country artist Kelsea Ballerini got the surprise of a lifetime. Her idol, Carrie Underwood, inducted her into the Grand Ole Opry Tuesday night. She is now the youngest member of the Opry. Ballerini posted on her Instagram how much of an honor it is to be part of the Opry. She thanked Carrie Underwood by saying, quote, "I really wouldn't know what it looks like to be a woman in country music without you," end quote. And that's it for entertainment. Let's see what's coming up next in this week's sports. Jake?
Well, I'm out here at Seth Grove Stadium where we had the spring game here on a sunny, beautiful day. And down in Bucknell, we had some track and field over the weekend. Some highlights coming to you live next on SUTV Sports. The GOAT returns at the Masters. SUTV's Patrick Ramsdale tells us more.
It's like something straight off of a movie screen. 11 years after winning his last major in 2008, Tiger Woods is back on top. The 43-year-old's 12-under performance was good enough to win his 5th Masters championship. Woods' career has been plagued with injury, having had 8 surgeries in his career, 4 of which on his back in a 5-year span. After collapsing on the tee box at the Barkley Championship in 2013, many thought his winning days were over. However, Woods knew he still had it in him.
I did think it would come, just because of what I did last year. I knew it was in me. No. Did I know it was going to be this week? No.
After winning, Tiger shared a moment with his son similar to the one he shared with his father after winning his first Masters.
And I struggled for years, and that's basically all I remember. So, we're creating new memories for him, and it's just very special.
With congratulations coming from all over the world, even the Empire State Building turned green in honor of Tiger Woods. SUTV Sports, I'm Patrick Ramsdale.
Well, it's what I like to call the dark ages of sports, especially with no football on, which is my favorite sport. But Saturday, Ship Football had their annual red-white spring game, starting offense in the red, starting defense in the white. And it was quite a showdown between the two teams, so let's pick it up in the first quarter. White team, on the first play from scrimmage, Sean Judge is going to get the off-tackle handoff, finds a seam, and he is gone. 70 yards on the first play for the white team, and they're going to take the lead 7-0. We're still in the first quarter. White team with the ball, another handoff, but a fumble! It's going to be picked up by Roland Norfleet, and he will not be brought down. 31 yards for the defensive score, and we're all tied up. Later in the first, red face with a third down and short. The handoff to Raleigh Serb, gets the edge, and turns on the Jets. He goes 66 yards for the touchdown, and the red team is going to come out with the win, 14-7. And Shippensburg baseball took on Westchester in a PSAC Eastern Division doubleheader this past Saturday. Unfortunately, the Raiders struggled offensively on the day, and they managed just 3 runs in the 2-game set. The Raiders would take a 2-1 lead in Game 1, but the Rams would go on to score in each of the last 4 frames and come out victorious 10-2. And in Game 2, senior Michael Hope took the mound and would go on to punch 7 hitters in 5 2/3 innings, but come out to lose 8-1. Next up, the Raiders will visit Lock Haven on the road for a doubleheader. That's tomorrow. Track and field had a busy week as they were at Bucknell on Saturday and Sunday and at home on Wednesday. So let's start with Bucknell. The Bucknell meet was a tale of 2 complete opposite days, as Saturday was a beautiful 75 degrees, but Sunday was very rainy. Let's start on Saturday. In the field, Morgan DeFloria, All-American javelin thrower, hits a nice series of throws, her best throw being 145 feet 10 inches. We move to Sunday, where Cam Strohe, he's throwing the shot put. Good throw here, his best of the day being 48 feet 1 3/4 inches. And now let's move to the track. Sophomore Austin Padmore, he's running his best event, the 800 meters, and he's going to improve his season best with a time of 1 minute 53 seconds. Now to the hurdles. Tatiana Purnell is going to get over all the hurdles clean here, and she's going to win the heat with a conference qualifying time of 15.28 seconds. And senior Ori Rinneman had a good run in his heat, placing second with a time of 14.89 seconds. Now on to the home meets, where there were plenty of great performances. We're going to start on the track with the men's 4x100. Calvin Dennis is going to hand it off to Chris Craig. There he goes. And Roland Miles will finish at the line with a time of 41.13 seconds. But the big performance of the day, redshirt freshman Shamar Jenkins. And on his second attempt in the triple jump, Jenkins goes less than 4 inches under 50 feet, and he's pumped. Jenkins now top 10 in Division II. Now back to the track. It is now the 200 meters, and Aaron Arp comes flying around the turn, finishes with an NCAA provisional time of 21.29 seconds. Besides Jenkins and Arp, there were 6 other NCAA division provisional performances. Charles Bowman doubled up, hitting provisional times of 14.52 seconds in the 110 hurdles and 52.51 seconds in the 400 hurdles. Alex Stimson hits a big provisional throw in the javelin, his throw 193 feet and 1 inch. Chris Craig ran a 21.3 seconds in the 200. Abby Wagner goes over 41 feet in the triple jump, and Allie Weiland broke her own school record in the 100 meters with a PSAC time of 12.02 seconds. And the last NCAA provisional performance from Wednesday is this week's Stat of the Week. This week's Stat of the Week goes to junior Zaria Williams. Williams posted her personal best in the long jump as she went over 20 feet and is now number 2 in the nation. That jump has put Williams in very good position to return to the NCAA championships, as she was a qualifier in the long jump in the indoor season. So congrats to Zaria Williams on this week's Stat of the Week, and tune in next week for the Stat of the Week. And don't forget, if you work like that, you get the stat. That's it for sports. Let's send it back to the desk.
Thanks, Jake. When we come back, we asked our Ship family what their plans are for Easter weekend.
So what are you guys doing for Easter?
Well, I get to go home. Tomorrow I have a job interview, which I'm very excited about. But Sunday I get to go home and see my mom. I haven't seen her in a very long time. So it's good to be with family.
I'm going home tomorrow after my 10 o'clock class, George Pomeroy geography. But I'll be going to see some family. I'm going up to Scranton, actually. That's where most of my family is. So I'll go up there for Easter.
Electric City.
She has my one aunt has a huge egg hunt up there, over 3,000 eggs in like 3 yards. It's insanity.
Wow.
My goodness.
I mean, it's not even really finding eggs. They're literally just every 5 feet on the ground.
I miss egg hunt.
It's a fun time, and I'm not gonna. I mean, back in the day, I used to be a champ at grabbing some eggs on the ground. So.
Well, SUTV's Javon Singleton hopped around campus to ask students, staff, and faculty about their plans. Let's take a look.
I'm going home to see my family.
I am catching up on the sleep that I need for my finals.
What am I doing for Easter? I'm probably going to eat lots of chocolate, and I'm going to see if the Easter Bunny leaves me any extra goodie.
Oh, you know, nothing major. Probably Easter hunt with the kids.
Bard is hosting a little Easter egg scavenger hunt. I'm probably going to enjoy that.
I'm going home for Easter Sunday with my family. Me too. I'm going home with my family. Looking forward to some good food.
Crying.
I'm going home.
I'm going home.
Going home and seeing my family.
For Easter, I'm going home, spending time with my family.
I'm going home to my house, Bucks County.
I'm going to celebrate with my boyfriend's family.
I'm cooking.
Me and my sister are exchanging presents.
Gonna chill. I'm just gonna chill at home. We're not doing anything special.
I'm working on a senior project so I can try to graduate.
I am so excited to hear what Kyle Heim, one of our ComJourn professors, is doing for Easter.
It's a lot of fun.
It is. Well, that's it for SUTV News. I'm Isabella Marcelino.
And I'm Avery Quinn. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at SUTV News, and check out our website at SUTVnews.com.
We'll see you next week.